All right, I'm back with another video, and this time we're going to be discussing something very important. And that important thing is what to do if the police suspect you of a crime or they bring you into interrogation or something like that. Or they suspect you, they want to talk to you, bring you to an interrogation room, what to do, what not to do, etc., etc. Now, before I get into this, I do want to put out a disclaimer. I am not an attorney, and I don't even play one on TV. So I'm not a legal expert. I'm not anything. I'm just an American that knows my rights and know when to assert them. That's the key. You have to be able to assert. You have to have the balls to assert your right. Essentially, a lot of people don't assert their rights, which is why they get railroaded by police all the time. We've seen false confessions. We've seen false confessions. We've seen confessions that didn't have to happen. If you committed a crime, people confess because they don't know their rights, or if they do know their rights, they're too afraid to assert them. So let's talk about what are your rights. First is your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, you have the right to an attorney during any and all questioning. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you free of costs. Or they occasionally say at the hub at public expense. So it's basically the same thing. And then the cop will say, "Do you understand your rights as I read them to you?" And then you usually say yes. But the thing that people like they don't understand it's implied there, but they're implying your Fifth Amendment rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney, and you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. It doesn't really talk about your Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination, or actually not against not to incriminate yourself during questioning. So I'm going to read to you what the Fifth Amendment essentially says. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do, wait, actually, no. There you go. Let's do that. Let's make this a little bigger so it actually be seen on the screen. Sorry about that. So, here we go. Let me actually scroll down a little bit. Thank you. Right there. What is the Fifth Amendment in simple terms? The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees that an individual cannot be compelled by the government to provide incriminating information about him or herself, the so-called right to remain silent. When an individual takes the fifth, he or she invokes the right to refuse to answer a question or provide evidence against themselves. Essentially, people are usually too afraid to assert their Fifth Amendment rights. You don't have to incriminate yourself. That's the thing. You don't have to in any crime, whether it be a murder charge or whether it would be a charge of it'd be a simple charge of DUI or anything or a speeding ticket. You don't have to incriminate yourself. You do it because usually you do it because either you don't know your rights or you don't know when to assert your rights, etc., etc. Now another right that you have, which is not really discussed at all, is what to do if you're in an interrogation room. If police suspect you of a crime, they want to bring you in for questioning. So what do you do? Hold on, maybe make myself bigger here because there you go. Because you can't really see me. What do you do if you decide if the police bring you in for questioning, and if you decide yes, I'll come in to answer some questions. I didn't do anything wrong. So what are your rights at that point? You don't have to stay in the interrogation room. That's the thing. People think they have to stay until the police excuses them. That's not really true. Unless the only way that's true is if you're under arrest. If you just get brought in for questioning for no reason, and if you don't like where the questioning is going, you can either assert your Fifth Amendment privilege because you're probably gonna if you decide I did this and I don't want to incriminate myself, or if you didn't do it, you can say, unless you're going to arrest me, I'm just going to leave because I have other things and more important things to do than to sit here and go around answering the same questions over and over again. So you do have that right. You don't have to stay in an interrogation room forever. And so either you get coerced into a false confession or you confess to a crime you actually committed. So that's very important. Because if you're staying, police will manipulate you or even lie to you to get a confession out of you. I mean, they're allowed to lie to you under the law in order to get a confession out of you. As an example, we found your DNA at the crime scene, right? Even though there's no way they found your DNA, officially you didn't do it. because ultimately you weren't there. You know you weren't there. You never been to the house, so no way your DNA can end up in that house. So at that point, you have to call their bluff. It's like, okay, either you arrest me or I'm leaving because I don't have to stay any longer if you're gonna lie to me. Because I know you didn't find my DNA in the house because I wasn't there. Excuse me. So yeah, at that point, you call their bluff and you leave. You have the right to do that. Most people don't know that. That's why they get scared. It's like, oh, what do I? Oh my god! They get scared, they get nervous. And eventually, that's when false confession comes because it's like, hey, my DNA is there. I might as well confess. Maybe I'll get less time. So that's not the right thing to do. Or you assert your right to an attorney at that point, and you leave, and you wait to contact an attorney. I mean, you have so many rights. You don't have to incriminate yourself to law enforcement. Now, I want to play a couple of clips from an A&E show called Interrogation Raw. I hope it doesn't get copyright stricken, but we'll see. I'm going to do this. If you bear with me 1 second. Here we go. Excuse me. Let's bear with me 1 second while I figure out how to properly do this. Okay, here we go. There you go. So this is about a guy. It doesn't matter his name or anything. He's a murder suspect at this point. He allegedly broke into some house and murdered a boy and like the father, I believe. Anyway, so police bring him for questioning. They don't really have they don't have a smoking gun against him. They have circumstantial evidence that he did this, but they want a confession out of him to make their lives easier, to be honest. So I'm gonna play like two clips of this, and then I'm gonna show you at the end how long he spent in the interrogation room when he didn't have to, at all. So let's play this real quick. Let me. The first clip I'm going to play is about the cop basically being frustrated because they're going round and round in a circle. He's saying the same thing over and over again, and they're not getting what they need out of him, which is the confession. So they're going to change their tactics and strategies. So I'll play this clip real quick. It's not that long, and then I'll discuss what the strategy actually is. So let's do this and make sure everything is good. All right, yeah, that's good enough. Let's go.
We were kind of stuck in a pattern of this, incremental admissions. We didn't feel that we had anything to lose at that point by trying another tactic. Introducing a new face, he may react differently.
Takes a more confrontational approach. Now, what takes a more confrontational support means, or confrontational approach means, is the good cop, bad cop thing. So far, at that point, the police were really nice to him, and they basically treated him with respect, and they did basically the tap dance. They're nice. They're not going to openly attack this guy and like that. Now, with this new cop coming in, he's going to be more of an asshole. He's going to be more confrontational. He's going to try to push him into a confession, which he ends up doing, by the way. And that's another trick that law enforcement does, which I'm going to skip ahead now and show you what I'm talking about. It's 6:29 I have here, right? Yeah. So here it is. Okay, let me make this bigger so you guys can actually see it. So
they are going to stop you from what they're going to call the cops. That's why I think, personally, you shot them. It's because you were trying to protect yourself.
Right there. That's the trick right there. I'm going to play a little bit more, though.
That's the reason that I can see. Am I right?
There it is. He just confessed. I don't know why this popped up. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Not sure you could see that. It says there's some streaming issue, even though I'm not streaming. I'm just recording this. But let me go back to this again. Here I go. But That's the trick right there. You see what he did there, the cop? He said, the only reason why I could see you doing this is because you were defending yourself. Even though clearly they allegedly say he broke into the house and then murdered a father and a son and shot the mother. Excuse me. But now they turn around and they say, no, obviously the only reason why I could see you doing this is defending yourself. You were defending yourself. This is self-defense, right? I'm going to play a little bit more. I mean, just...
I thought so. I thought I was. And that makes me feel better about you. Because I just can't see you walking in there and shooting some kid.
All right. You see, another thing. They try to make you seem like, oh, you see, I didn't think you would do that. You wouldn't just walk into some house and just shoot a kid. You know, like they're trying to invoke his humanity and his feelings. You know, like, oh, there's no way you could have done that, right? Come on, tell me it was self-defense, right? They're allowed to do that, by the way, legally. There's a lot of noise outside. If you can hear this, I apologize, but there's not much I can really do about that. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, that's all I can really do. So if the noise pops up again, I apologize. But yeah, that's another trick they use. They try to appeal to your humanity, like, oh, there's no way you could have done this, right? It had to be self-defense, right? Like feeding him that defense. Oh yeah, it was self-defense, of course. And I yeah, so that's another trick law enforcement uses. So it then one more. I'm gonna not gonna play this clip, but I am gonna show you how long he spent in the interrogation room before he finally actually confessed. So let me go to my last timestamp here. Here we go. All right, right there. You see in the top left-hand corner how long he actually spent. It's 5 hours, 17 minutes, and 24 seconds. Is one interrogation, and he confessed. So he didn't have to spend that much time in the interrogation room. If he knows he did this, why in the world did he stay there? Because he didn't know his rights. He assumed that he had to stay there, which is why police were able to manipulate him into confessing, into confessing the crime that he allegedly committed. So that's why there was no reason for him to stay there. No reason. He could have just said, you know what, either arrest me, I'm asserting my Fifth Amendment right against self incrimination, and I'm going to leave. Either you arrest me and charge me with this crime, or I'm going to walk out the police station and I'm going to go home, or I'm going to do what I need to do today, etc., etc. He didn't. He stayed there because he didn't know his rights. And he may have done this. I don't ultimately know, and I'm pretty sure that he pled guilty to like murder or something. But so it's not really allegedly anymore. But I say allegedly because at this point he was alleged to commit this crime. So he spent 5 hours, 17 minutes, and 24 seconds. And in the full episode, it shows he actually spent over 6 hours in the interrogation room. It's not the full episode; it's like a condensed 12-minute version they uploaded to YouTube. So yeah, I mean, this guy didn't have to confess, and this also applies to anybody, anyone that's not just a murder suspect. If you're, let's say, an activist, and police decide to bring you in for interrogation and try to get you to incriminate yourself on some other crime, you could just say, "Look, I assert my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination." That doesn't mean that you committed a crime. It just means that you don't have to tell the police anything. You don't have to talk at all. You just basically say, "Look, I plead the fifth. And if you arrest me, I'm leaving now. The only way I'm not leaving, you're arresting me. So call their bluff. See what happens. If they arrest you, then that means that they have the evidence against you. If they don't let you walk out, that means they have nothing, and there's bluffing. So yeah, remember, it's very important for you to know your rights. By the way, this video and that I used and the Fifth Amendment right thing, it'll be in the description box below for you guys to check out on your own. So let me know what you think. Give me a comment down below. Give me a like. It's very important to like this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Very important because I spend most of my time there. Let me get rid of this. I don't need that anymore. Follow me main account at AngelJRivera08. my backup at the bad guy AR. Very important. Follow both accounts because my ass may get banned from my main account. So, yep, that'll do it for this video. So make sure you guys tell me what you think. Make sure you give me a like and share it. I think it's very important to to let people know what their rights are, because the police are going to tell you you're allowed to walk out of the interrogation room and without talking to them. They're not going to tell you shit. They're just going to let you sit there and talk and talk and talk and manipulate you, and use the good cop bad cop strategy until they get you. And so they either do a false confession or you actually confess to a crime you committed. You don't have to do that. The police, you should. This is what they do. They try to get a confession out of you, so it's easier for their job. They make it easier for themselves because they're pretty lazy. They don't want to actually do the work. All right. Until next time, I bid you adieu. I'll see you in the next video.